So let's start with the Progressive Conservative Party. What are the prospects and what are the pitfalls, David, in your mind?
Well, you know, Alberta's a strange political universe. In some ways, it's inverted. We've had these polls which show, you know, the public does not want an election. People are angry about the budget, and the Premier's numbers are you know, they're just descending. And so the normal caution in politics is that's not the time to go. And I think also that there's this swirl of anger because of, you know, the economy's poor. I mean, there's an anger looking for a place to go. So again, in most places, the government wouldn't call an election now, but the Tories are just, you know, they'll fly the plane into the turbulence because they've always been able to win and always been able to fly through the rough weather and make it to the end.
I've never seen an Alberta government go into an election with a campaign like this. It's never happened. Going in with the economy falling, jobs being shed every week, oil prices low, talking about $20 billion in debt over the next 3 years if we don't do something, higher taxes. I mean, it's really quite unbelievable that a premier is going in saying, basically, I know you're going to hate me, but vote for me anyway because this is a responsible thing to do. And I think the pitfall is obvious. Like if people don't buy it or if they don't trust it, then they're in big trouble. But I think what the core thing the PCs will try to establish is that Prentice is a tough guy who's willing to be not popular, willing to do the thing that he thinks is important, trying to get the province out of this. And will that image of strength and keeping his caucus behind him in a tough time like this, will that do it for them? We'll see.
I think one thing to look, I agree with what Don said. One thing to look at is we've had very low voter turnouts in Alberta. 2008, it was 40%, the lowest of any province in the history of Canada. That may be repeated this time, and in fact, it may even be lower than that, because people are caught in the vortex. I mean, a lot of people don't know where to go, they don't trust the government, and so sometimes what they do is stay at home. They sit on their hands, and we could see a lot of Albertans sitting on their hands.
Don, do you think this is a referendum ultimately, though, about the leadership and the premiership of Jim Prentice?
It could be. The poll numbers as we come into this were looking not too good for him. We haven't seen actually anything on the actual trust factor, which was extremely low in Redford's time, of course.
Right.
But I think it could come down to that. Will he be able to hold this aura, which is obviously slipping? I mean, the tiara that he owned as a sort of Teflon premier 2 months ago has clearly slipped.
Right now his numbers are low, right, and seem to be descending. He cannot lose another 5 points. I mean, if he loses another 5 points from the polls that we've seen, it's a crash landing. I mean, he has to level off and gain altitude, or else it'll be an ugly night.